Hey, welcome to Learning with Lou. Today we're going to talk about converting fractions greater than 1 into mixed numbers, or as some people call it, improper fractions turning into mixed numbers. So whenever you look at a fraction and you see that the numerator is greater than the denominator, in this example you have 8/5, 8 is greater than 5, that's called a fraction greater than 1 or an improper fraction. All this means is that this fraction represents a number that's greater than 1 whole. So for example, if you take a look at these pizzas down here, you can see that 8/5 is represented in total. You have one entire pizza. That's 5 out of 5 slices are all still here. That's one whole. But there's a second pizza. It's not a whole pizza. There are 3 out of the 5 slices left. So you have 5/5 here in the one whole, plus another 3/5 in this other pizza. That gives you a total of 8/5. So 8/5 is an improper fraction because it's greater than one whole. So when you're going to rewrite an improper fraction as a mixed number, there's actually 2 different ways you can do this. And the first way is to do division. So you could take your numerator and divide it by your denominator. So you can see here we have 16 over 6. We're turning that into 16 divided by 6. And one little trick I always like to tell my students, because sometimes they forget which number goes inside the division symbol, I always tell them to think about it like a division house is what I call it. The symbol is the house. And anything that's underground, so your denominator, that's under the fraction bar, anything that's underground doesn't go inside the house. It's dirty. You don't want to bring it into the house. So that helps them remember their denominator stays outside, your numerator goes inside. Now that you have your division set up, you could just say to yourself, 6 can go into 16 2 times, so I put my 2 up here. 6 times 2 is 12, so we subtract 16 minus 12, which gives us 4. Now that my number here is less than the number I'm dividing by, I have a remainder. My answer is 2 remainder 4. So you're probably saying, great, how does that help me turn it into a mixed number though? Now you just have to remember 3 easy steps. Your quotient, your number before the remainder, your quotient becomes your whole number. So I had 2 remainder 4. My quotient is 2. So my whole number becomes 2. Your remainder becomes your numerator in your fraction for the mixed number now. So my numerator is going to change. It's not 16 anymore. I'm going to have 2 as my whole number and 4 as my numerator. And then you just keep your original denominator, which was 6. So 16/6 is really equivalent to 2 4/6. I just took this improper fraction and rewrote it as a mixed number. You can also decompose an improper fraction to turn it into a whole number, and just remember, decomposing means to break apart a fraction or break apart anything. So we have 19/8 here, for example. I'm going to break this apart into as many whole numbers as I can get. So I'm working with eighths here because that's my denominator. And remember, anytime your numerator and denominator are the same digit, you have a fraction equal to one whole. So I'm actually going to break this apart into 8/8. Now I know that I can pull out another one whole, because if I take out another 8/8, that'll be 16/8, so that's still less than my numerator. So I have 8/8, that's one whole. I have another 8/8, that's a second one whole. And then I'm left with just 3/8. So I'm going to count up the amount of fractions that are equal to one whole. I have 1, 2. So that's my whole number. My whole number becomes 2. And then anything that's left over that you couldn't pull another one whole from, that just becomes a fraction in your mixed number. So I had 2 wholes, which gave me 2, and I had 3/8 left over to get up to my 19, because 8 plus 8 gives me 16. I needed 3 more to get to 19, so 3/8 becomes the fraction for my mixed number. So 19/8 can be rewritten as 2 3/8. I'll do one more example with you just so you can see it in action, and then I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try to solve a few of these on your own. So let's take a look at here. We have 5/4. Me personally, I just like to use division a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up as a division equation. So I have 5 divided by 4, and my 4 is underground, so I'm going to leave it outside. So I know that 4 can go into 5 one time, and 4 times 1 is going to give me 4, so that's what I subtract. I have 5 minus 4, which gives me 1. So now that my number that I just got from subtracting is less than the number I'm dividing by, that's going to become my remainder. It's 1 remainder 1. So now I can write this as a mixed number. My quotient, which is my number before the remainder, becomes my whole number, so 1 is my whole number. My remainder becomes my numerator, so my numerator is 1, and then I just keep my original denominator, so 5/4 can also be rewritten as 1 1/4. How about you pause the video here and try the rest of these practice problems on your own, and then when you unpause the video, you can see how you did. Okay, so hopefully you gave the rest of these problems a try on your own and you can compare your answers to mine. So for 7/3, we got 2 and 1/3. For 10/8, we got 1 and 2/8, which can be simplified to 1 and 1/4. 10/3 became 3 and 1/3. 13/9 became 1 and 4/9. And 16/5 became 3 and 1/5. By the way, if you like these visuals that you see and you want some more practice problems, go ahead and take a look in my description. You'll find the link to my shop where you can get to all of these resources for you to purchase. And there you have it. Those are two different ways you can choose to rewrite improper fractions as mixed numbers. You can either use division or you can use decomposing. Either one is fine, whichever one you're more comfortable with. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well if you want to see more content covered in the future. Also, feel free to leave a comment down below on how you did in the practice problems. Thank you again, and never stop learning.